Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading for the month of July. So I'm doing an energy reading based on what I pick up psychically about basically what you need to hear or what would be helpful for the people who find this video. So I will start with a general reading in the beginning, and then I'll break it down and do 4 separate readings based on your element, what your elements are. So if you're a fire sign, air sign, water, or earth. I also feel that it's really important to share, and you probably already know this, but if your sun sign and your rising sign are 2 different elements, definitely listen to both of those and combine them. The purpose of doing this really is to get in touch with ourselves and our own soul's communication to ourselves. So that's what I believe that psychic readings really are. It's someone who's doing it in their integrity. They're holding up a mirror or translating what information they're receiving from your own soul. And so it's a soul-to-soul conversation, for me anyway. That's how I feel psychic readings are. So when we talk about a general psychic reading for everyone, we're talking about the collective consciousness, the oneness, and the connection between all things as well. And I feel that we've been experiencing that a lot more, okay, the synchronicity between what goes on in one part of the world and what goes on in another. So we are realizing more and more how we're all affected by one action. The important thing that is really coming up is that we're affected by actions big and small. So we're seeing on a mass scale how we're affected by big actions by people who are, let's say, in power. What we're going to be incorporating, what we're doing now, and I'm definitely starting the general reading right about now with the psychic information, is we're taking the information that we can see on a mass scale and we are applying it to our individual lives. We're recognizing our own power, and that's really important for this month, okay? So we're going into recognizing our own power. And I have to talk about this because I feel very insecure. As I even say that, I feel like it's kind of taboo, and I don't feel like I really have power, okay? So we are coming out of a situation, generally, where individuals have been feeling that they don't actually have power. And people are feeling very insecure in the sense that what they do doesn't matter and their lives don't matter on a massive scale or in any significant way. So we're dealing with that a lot. We're trying to find how I matter, because I feel like when we go a little bit beneath that surface, we know that it does matter, but we're feeling like, how do I make my gifts be known to the world? How do I use my gifts for the betterment of my community and my life, the world around me? And what we're seeing is people are recognizing that, especially this summer, and as we're leaving the summer solstice, or the summer solstice has just begun, we're recognizing our own power and we're stepping into that. But this really is an internal situation that's going on for everyone, where we do project and we do want to know, how can I be useful outside of my own life? That keeps coming up. How do I make something work? And I know that I'm talking about our career paths and how do I make my career my sole purpose. So that's really what everyone who I'm talking to is wondering right now. And so when I feel into that question, this period of time is really about the initiation of that question. We're talking about entering the temple here, okay? This is important that you know that it takes time to see the reward of what you've been doing. Okay. The other thing about this is that results for what you are trying to accomplish are not as important as the process itself. And we are trying to move from a result-based society to a process-based society. And the question is, what is, okay. It's like this in a moment. Am I enjoying this moment to moment, okay? And less about, okay, let me sacrifice 5 years of my life so that I can eventually be happy at the end of that. No. So psychically, or let's say intuitively, I feel, connected to spirit here, and they're making me snap my finger. And as I snap it, it's about joy. And it's about joy, like I have to say again, in each moment or each day. Maybe not each moment is as realistic, because we can't overachieve here. It's not about achievements, and it's not about the end result. It's about now. And we're realizing that as a society. We're realizing I'd rather enjoy this process of my life's work than work for 25 years or at a job I don't like, or more than that. And this idea of retirement not being an option. Okay, here's an interesting thing that's coming on about this idea of retirement not being an option for millennials, okay, and whoever's under millennials. Okay, so what's coming up here is we want to talk about that, because that is invoking a lot of fear in us, right? We're not going to be able to retire. And, okay, this is a challenge that must be coming up in the month of July for many people, okay? So when I'm talking about that, we really want to change perspective, and this is what it's about. Okay, staying in the present moment and enjoying the process of getting to the goal, not just the goal, okay? Okay, the goal is what your idea of success is in life. And that's something that in the month of July, you're wanting to get even more clear on, okay? This will be an emotional time, but it's a very creative time. So the idea of retirement not being an option should be, okay, the suffering idea, or the difficulty that kind of turns into your gift. It turns into your power. No, it's not about fairness, and this is not coming from a rational place, so all the reasoning as to why that might not be the case, you might not have a 401k and you might not retire, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not making that all okay. It's really coming from a spiritual place. This gives you a type of a challenge that expresses to you that your work is not done on earth until it's time to go. Okay. So it really will present you with an opportunity to make work different than generations past, where we actually aren't exerting ourselves to the point where we will burn out by the time we're 55 or 60. We can no longer stand for things like that, okay? But that's what's happening on a massive scale. So knowing that I have to have a balanced life, and knowing that I'm entering the temple of that, okay? Because it's about entering. This is a process of of everyone, okay? So I'm not saying that this is all going to conclude in the month of July, but this is a very potent idea that's happening now that I have to talk about. We are, as a society, on a spiritual path, trying to seek true joy, okay? And I encourage from my soul to yours that we try to find that joy within the moments starting now, okay? So this is what it's about. The way forward, okay. The way forward is really taking what spiritual knowledge we have and creating it in a very structured and practical use on Earth. So we're getting out of a New Age movement where we would have to check out to be in touch spiritually. Now we have to be in touch spiritually and be on the earth and be down to earth and use what we know, which is I want to find more joy in what I'm doing in each moment, what I'm doing here, okay? So it's what my life's work is. I can't put off the joy and I can't put the goal into the future. I have to have the goal in my heart now. It's not about results. I have to say that again because so many of us are not seeing results for the work that we're doing. But the work that we're doing is beneath the surface. Okay, and you will see physical results, and I know that's coming up because the number 4 is coming up, and I just feel that elemental, earthly pull that we are going to be seeing, that there will be stability in that for you. But it takes time, and it's really important that you know that because the fruits of summer, let's say, are not ripe yet, okay, but it is still summer and it's still a joyous time. And as I'm saying that, I'm being drawn to my solar plexus. So I'm really being drawn to this idea that what we're struggling with right now is our own confidence. This is coming up within relationships, and many of us are taking this feeling of not quite being enough or not quite being on our path and just putting it onto our personal relationships. And I do mean romantic relationships as a distraction from as a distraction from this idea of disappointment in ourselves, okay? So we do kind of go, our minds are running about relationships that are kind of rocky, or we're projecting onto other people. I see that with, this is not for everyone, but I see that happening a little bit romantically. And the message here is just simplicity, okay? Okay, so the message is really to not complicate things as much as you can. Okay, I have to say this. If someone's not calling you, it's simple. Okay, if someone's not reaching out to you, responding to messages, responding to you, it's simple. Okay, you know what that means. And it's better to face the fact, better to face that truth and not take it into your solar plexus, but let it go around you. Walk into the disappointment of it, but you don't hold on to the disappointment of it inside of you. So that's the real challenge. But I want to say this is a very creative time. So a lot of people are working on new ideas that have to do a lot with what they're making. And I actually see people many people who are being drawn to working with their hands. And so this is really important because this is a grounding moment for many people who haven't felt like they've been able, to feel like they're accomplishing something creatively, that they're creating without having their hands on something. And it's been a long time. So when we were children, it was very natural for us to just get our hands on things and play, and even play sports, and even just throw around a ball, because that's a very creative action as well. So many people over the summer months get back into this kind of feeling, and it's so rejuvenating. So a lot of you will be painting, a lot of you will just be throwing frisbees around. All of this is creative expression. This really feeds your soul. Anything that gets your mind kind of not focused on, this is really almost a paradox, but anything that takes your mind off the goal is going to ultimately help you reach the goal, The most important thing I want to really emphasize this month for everyone is joy. This is at times a challenge, but if you can find it, what is joy? How do you do joy? It's really about focusing on things that you enjoy doing. So the goal sometimes becomes this huge obstacle, this huge challenge. So then we don't go to the beach, or we don't hang out with our friends, or we don't watch comedy. We're not laughing as much because we're working so hard towards a goal. And I'm even talking for a lot of you about the inner spiritual goals. A lot of times when we have a spiritual goal, we can detach, and we can become a bit aloof. And this is really, summer is really drawing you back out of being aloof and more in touch with others, and forgetting about the end results, forgetting about the goal, because this is really essential to actually achieving it. So it's that spiritual paradox, which I do think you understand. There is something here I need to say about not being so stubborn, because there's something about the footing, your footing, it's kind of a metaphor, but your foot is so strong into what you want that it's so rooted in what you want so badly, what your desire is for this end result thing, that we don't have a lot of flexibility there, and that's kind of the huge lesson in all of this. It's not really about reaching the goal. Once you have the goal, you're happy, and then you've reached your goal, and then you want to reach another goal. So really the lesson in all of this is about flexibility, simplicity. You may have that goal, but you don't get to decide yourself how you're going to get there. You'll have ideas, and that's perfectly fine. And there's something else about like stagnation, because there's many of us that we know the goal, but we haven't been able, again, that foot is in the ground, we haven't been able to take a step forward into it yet. This month is going to bring you beautiful ideas about how you're going to do that. But it's just a little bit at a time, and that's how it's meant to be, is what I'm getting. That's just how it is. To accept that that's how it is, that you're not going to see the how, and you're not going to see the whole path. This is really a general reading, and this has been coming up in a lot of my readings about not seeing 2 and 3 steps ahead of you. You're only going to be seeing 1 step or a half a step, and for some of you who are really on a spiritual journey, you're not going to be seeing where you're stepping at all. You're just being called to have faith and move forward, okay, without knowing what that is. So that's taking every day, moment by moment, and trying to find peace and joy while you don't know how you're going to attain your goals. You have to have trust in the source, and you have to find trust and faith in the source. And for many of you, that's God, and for many of you, that's the universe. Okay. So however you want to call that, it's about trust and faith and simplifying the life. So I also want to say this is a really important time to like clear the house. This is really also important, I have to say, about the finances, is that a lot of us are giving our money away to things we signed up for and forgot about. So there's like money coming out of the account for I don't know, there's some subscriptions that we're signed up to which we forgot about, and we need to cancel some of them and put your money towards something else that I get this, we just cancel them and we don't subscribe to anything, and we say take that money back, because we're talking about $3 and $5 a month or $20 a month. It's about putting your money towards something that you believe in. So it's like taking money out of subscriptions that you don't use and putting it towards something you believe in, some kind of movement, some kind of subscription that is interests you and feeds your soul, versus, I don't know, something you're not reading and something you're not using. So check your accounts. This is a perfect time to do that and just simplify. Let's see. Okay, so that was 15. That was a while. Okay, so I'm going to now move into all water signs. Okay. So that was the general reading. And now I'm just moving into water signs here. Okay. Hold on one second.